Right now I am in my apartment on the 3rd floor. I cannot go outside. The door downstairs is welded shut. I am lucky. I bought groceries yesterday. If I had waited one more day, I would probably be starving by now. I do not know who did it, but I know this, it was someone from inside our building. The seams on the entrance door were welded from the inside, not outside, inside. That means whoever did it locked themselves in here with the rest of us. And I know something else. There is a dead body outside, but I am getting ahead of myself. Let me explain. I live in a small, old apartment block at the edge of town, 5 floors. No elevator. Built in the 1960s. Concrete panels, thin walls. You can hear your neighbors cough at night. The basement smells like sewage every spring. The roof leaks. The pipes rattle. In Russia, we call these buildings khrushchevkas, cheap housing from another era. Most of my neighbors are old, pensioners, suspicious people, hard people. I live here because I inherited this apartment from my grandmother. I am young, but at least I have my own place. And the view from my balcony is beautiful. It overlooks a forest that stretches farther than the eye can see. An ocean of dark trees? It would be perfect, if not for what lives out there. For the morning, it started. I walked downstairs, half asleep. It was 8 in the morning. People were already crowding the entrance, shouting, angry, sweaty, confused. 2 men were pushing against the front door. It did not move. The entire metal frame was welded shut. Fresh metal seams running along the edges. Someone had sealed us in from the inside. A welder in the crowd examined it and said it clearly. This was not a prank. This was professional. And whoever did it was still inside with us. Then someone outside tried to enter and knocked from the other side of the door. He said he could not open it. He sounded confused at first. Then he screamed. The sound that followed was not human. A deep growl, heavy breathing, claws scraping against pavement. The door shook violently. Something huge rammed the man into it. We heard him scream. We heard bones snap. We heard him die, and we could do nothing. The door that trapped us also protected us. After that, sirens began wailing across town. Old emergency sirens that probably had not been used in decades. They screamed across the sky, then silence. The town outside went quiet. Too quiet. That was the first day. At first, people panicked. They called police. The police answered once. They sounded shocked. We were still inside. They told us to stay put. Help was not coming. It would be over soon. Then the phones stopped working. The internet barely worked. We were alone. The creature outside stayed close to the forest. Sometimes we heard it howl. Sometimes car alarms went off. Once, I saw something large move between the trees, bigger than any animal I have ever seen. People calmed down in a strange way. That is something about us. We adapt. We endure. We survive. If someone tells us to stay inside, we stay inside. On the second day, neighbors started visiting each other, sharing tea, sharing stories, acting normal as if normal still existed. My friend Nikita did not come home that morning. His girlfriend, Natasha, told me he stayed at a friend's house the night before. He never made it back. She has not slept properly since. Then, an old man knocked on my door. He needed insulin. The pharmacy was across the street. He had planned to buy more that morning, but the door was already welded shut. Before 6 in the morning. Before 6. That means whoever sealed us in finished before dawn. The old man ran out of insulin 3 days later. He tied bedsheets together and climbed down from the 2nd floor window. We watched him from above as he ran to the pharmacy. He broke the glass. He got what he needed. He almost made it back. The creature came from around the corner. I saw it clearly that day. It was not natural. Its front legs were thick and powerful, ending in hands that looked disturbingly human. Its back legs were shorter but still wrong. Its body covered in long black fur. Its head bald and gray. And in the center of its face, one enormous eye. It crushed the old man's skull in a single strike. Then dragged him into the forest. After that, something new happened. At night I heard welding again. Someone was reinforcing the roof door, building a metal cage around it. The criminals on the top floor now had their own fortified section. They were drinking, laughing, playing music, and someone was helping them. The mysterious welder. Then one morning, we found the welder from the first day, dead in the stairwell. Purple skin, foam at the mouth, no wounds. Poison. The tap water started tasting strange. Then last night, everything changed. Again. A woman screamed. Not from outside. From inside the building. Something was moving in the stairwell. I looked through the peephole. At first, I saw nothing. Then something blocked the light. I heard tiny feet skitter across my door. It crawled across it. They can climb walls. In the morning, we found blood on the 4th floor, a long trail leading up to the roof. And from there, over the edge, there are 2 of them now. The first one we call the ape, the giant one in the forest. The second one we call the edge crawler. The ape waits outside. The crawler comes inside. 2 weeks ago, I would have laughed at these words. Now I sit in my apartment on the 3rd floor, listening to something move above me. The door downstairs is still welded shut, and I am starting to think it was never meant to keep us in. It was meant to keep something else out, or maybe, too, keep us in with it.
The night after we found the blood on the 4th floor, nobody slept. You could feel it. The building was quiet in a different way, not calm, not peaceful. It was the kind of silence where everyone is holding their breath at the same time. Every creak of the pipes sounded like footsteps. Every knock in the walls felt intentional. The militia gathered in the stairwell around noon. Maxim was there, jaw tight, eyes red from lack of sleep. He held a hatchet. Someone else had a kitchen knife taped to a broom handle. Another man carried a heavy wrench. We looked ridiculous, like children pretending to be soldiers, but no one laughed. The plan was simple. Check every floor, every corner, move together, no one alone. We started from the 1st floor and worked our way up. The air smelled strange, metallic, damp. On the 4th floor, where the blood trail began, we stopped. The stain was darker now, brown at the edges, thick in the center. It led upward, just like before. We climbed slowly. Each step felt like it weighed 100 kilos. When we reached the roof door, we saw it. The metal cage someone had welded there was bent, not broken, bent. The bars were twisted outward as if something had forced its way through from inside the building, not from the roof, from inside. Maxim touched the metal and pulled his hand back. It was cold. "Nothing that big could fit through there," one of the men whispered. But we all knew that was wrong. Size does not matter when something can crawl on walls. We searched the roof. Nothing, just frost on the concrete and a long drag mark that ended at the edge. It had taken someone again. No body, just silence. That evening, Natasha came to my apartment instead of me going to hers. She did not want to be alone anymore. I did not either. We sat at the kitchen table with a candle between us, even though the electricity was still working. The light flickered against the walls, making shadows stretch and breathe. "It wants us scared," she said quietly. "Maybe," I answered, but I was not sure fear was the point. The ape hunted with power. It crushed and tore and dragged. The crawler was different. The crawler watched. That night we heard it again, soft, scratching, somewhere above us, then to the side, then below. It was not moving randomly. It was circling, testing doors. Someone on the 2nd floor screamed, a man's voice this time. It cut off too quickly. The militia rushed out. I followed. Natasha begged me not to, but I could not just sit there. The stairwell lights flickered as we ran down. On the 2nd floor, one apartment door was open. Inside, the television was still on. A pot boiled over in the kitchen. Steam filled the air. The man was gone. The window was closed, the balcony door locked. There was only one thing unusual, a wet smear across the ceiling, leading to the corner, then disappearing into a ventilation shaft barely wide enough for a cat. We all stared at it. "It fits," Maxim whispered. No one argued. After that, people stopped leaving their apartments at all. The stairwell became empty. The militia shrank. 2 men refused to patrol anymore. One locked himself inside and did not answer when we knocked. Food started running low. The criminals on the top floor grew louder. They played music at night, laughed too hard, drank too much. Sometimes we heard them arguing. Then one night we heard gunshots, not distant this time, inside the building. 3 shots, then shouting, then something heavy slamming into walls. We waited in silence. No one went up to check. In the morning, the music was gone. The top floor was quiet. Maxim and I decided to go. We climbed slowly, weapons ready. The door to their section was open, the metal still twisted. Inside, the air was thick with alcohol and something else, blood. The room was destroyed, Furniture overturned, bottles shattered, bullet holes in the walls. 2 bodies lay on the floor, one with a gun still in his hand. The others were missing. And on the far wall, scratched deep into the concrete, were long grooves, 5 parallel lines, over and over, as if something had sharpened its fingers there. Maxim stared at the scratches. "It is learning," he said. I did not ask what he meant, because I understood. The ape is strength, the crawler is patience, and now they know the building. They know our routines, our hiding spots, our weak points. And there's something else that keeps bothering me. The welding, the poison in the water, the reinforced doors. These are not the actions of monsters. They are human, which means one thing: the creatures are not the only danger in here. And tonight, as I sit in the dark listening to something breathing in the ventilation above my ceiling, I cannot stop thinking about one question. What if the welder did not lock us in to trap us? What if he locked us in to feed them? And what if he's still alive?
Not tracked across the roof, alive, watching. The next morning, I went to see Maxime. He opened the door slowly, like everyone does now. Chain still on, eyes scanning behind me before letting me in. "I think the welder is feeding them," I said. He did not laugh. He did not tell me I was crazy. He just stared at the floor for a long moment. "Why poison the water?" he asked quietly. "To weaken us," I answered. "To make people desperate, sick, easier to take." Maxim rubbed his face. He looked older than he did 2 weeks ago. "We need proof," he said. Proof. That meant knocking on doors again. We started with simple questions. Who owns welding equipment? Who worked construction? Who smokes Soyuz, Apollo cigarettes? That cheap brand Maxim gave me the night on the balcony. Most people were too tired to argue, too scared to lie. Well, then we reached apartment 37. The door opened, just a little. A thin man with trembling hands looked at us. His apartment smelled like metal and something burned. Behind him, on the kitchen table, I saw it, a welding mask. He followed my eyes and stepped in front of it. "I repair pipes," he said quickly. "Old building, things break." His hands were shaking. Maxim asked if we could come in. The man hesitated. That hesitation was enough. We pushed inside. The apartment was warm, too warm, windows sealed with tape. On the balcony, hidden under a tarp, was a compact welding machine. Extension cords running through the window frame, and in the ashtray, Soyuz Apollo. My stomach turned. "You locked the door," I said. He swallowed. "You do not understand?" he whispered. "Explain," Maxime snapped. The man's eyes filled with something close to tears. It was supposed to keep it out. Silence. "I saw it before anyone else," he continued. "Watching the building, I called the police. They told me not to spread panic." He looked at us like he wanted us to believe him. "I welded the door at night. I thought if we sealed ourselves, it would leave." But it did not leave. I said, "No." His voice broke in the water. Maxim asked. The man shook his head violently. "Not me. I swear. I would not poison people." For a moment, I believed him. Then something thudded against the ceiling above us. All 3 of us froze. A slow dragging sound moved across the roof of his apartment. The welder's face drained of color. "It comes here," he whispered. "Why here?" I asked. He looked at the balcony, and then I understood. He welded the main door. He reinforced the roof. He made noise at night. Sparks. Light heat. He drew attention from something that hunts. Movement. The dragging sound stopped directly above us. Dust fell from the ceiling. Then came a soft tapping, like fingers. Feeling. Testing. The welder began to shake uncontrollably. "I tried to fix it," he said. "I built the cage on the roof so it could not get in. It bent the bars," Maxim said quietly. A loud crack split the room. A line formed across the ceiling. Plastered. Another crack. The crawler was above us, and it was heavy too. Heavy. Maxime grabbed my arm. "Out," he hissed. We ran for the door. The welder did not move. He stood there, staring up, whispering something I could not hear. Maybe a prayer, maybe an apology. The ceiling collapsed as we reached the hallway. Long black limbs burst through. The dust. Too many joints. Too many fingers. The welder finally screamed. The sound cut off almost instantly. We slammed the apartment door shut and stumbled back into the stairwell. From inside, we heard wet tearing, then silence. No dragging. This time, no rush to the roof. It was eating there in his apartment. Maxime looked at me, breathing hard. He was telling the truth about one thing. He said, "What?" He did not poison the water. A slow realization. settled in my chest. If the welder did not poison it, and the criminals are mostly dead, then someone else inside. This building wants us weaker. The ape hunts outside, the crawler hunts inside. But the poison is human. And as we stood there in the stairwell, listening to something chew through bone just a few meters away, I realized something worse. The creatures are adapting. But so is whoever is helping them. And I am starting to think this is not random. We were not sealed in by accident, we were selected. And whatever's happening in this town, it started long before the sirens. Everything is quiet now. That is the worst part. No screaming, no gunshots, no welding in the night. Just silence. There are only 11 of us left in the building. We counted yesterday. 11. The old people stopped opening their doors. Some of them are gone. No blood, no noise, just gone. Apartment's empty. Bed still warm. Maxim says the crawler learned how to open doors. I believe him. The water is completely undrinkable now. Thick taste of metal. We survive on what we stored in bathtubs and pots. Food is almost gone. Grains, potatoes, a few cans. Natasha barely speaks anymore. She sits by the window and looks at the forest, like she expects someone to walk out of it. Sometimes, I think she is right. 2 nights ago, the ape came closer than ever. It did not hide in the trees. It stepped out into the open street and stood there, waiting. Moonlight hit its bald head. That single massive eye reflected pale white. Pet was not hunting. It was watching the building, watching us, and then I saw something else. Movement behind it. More shapes between the trees. Not one, not two, several. I felt something inside me collapse. They are not alone? Yesterday, the electricity finally died. No lights, no humming fridge, no television noise from empty apartments. Just darkness. When night fell, the building felt hollow, like a corpse. We gathered in the stairwell because no one wanted to be alone anymore. 11 people sitting on cold concrete steps. Candles flickering, weapons in shaking hands. Then we heard it. Not outside, not above. Below. From the basement. A slow metallic screech, like something dragging along the welded sewer hatch. Maxim looked at me. They found another way, he said. The screech grew louder. Metal bending. The welds snapping one by one. Someone began to cry. Then came a new sound. Footsteps. Many of them. Not heavy like the ape. Not skittering like the crawler. Human. Boots on concrete. We froze. A voice echoed up the stairwell from the darkness below. Calm. Almost sport. If anyone is still alive up there, come down slowly. No one moved. The voice continued. You were told to stay inside. This zone was marked for cleansing. Cleansing. My stomach turned. Maxim stood up slowly. Who are you? He shouted down. Boots began climbing the basement stairs. Flashlights cut through the darkness. Men in dark uniforms appeared at the bottom of the stairwell. Masks. Rifles. Movements. Behind them, through the open basement door, I saw something massive being hauled by chains. The ape. It was restrained. Limbs bound in thick metal cables. Still alive. Still moving. And behind it. In a heavy steel cage. The crawler. Its many limbs folded tight against its body. That single huge eye staring upward. At us. Not wild. Not confused. Aware. One of the masked men removed his helmet. His face looked tired. Not cruel. Not evil. Just exhausted. You were not supposed to survive this long, he said. Natasha's voice trembled. What is that thing? The man looked at the cage. Not from here, he said simply. Maxim's grip tightened on his hatchet. You poisoned the water. Man did not deny it. We had to limit movement. Panic spreads faster than infection. Infection? I asked. He studied us carefully. You think those are animals? He said quietly. They are scouts. The word hung in the air. Scouts? Double quotes for what? Maxim demanded. The man looked toward the forest. And for the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. They test environs, stress responses, adaptation speed, population resistance. My mind struggled to keep up. You locked us in with them, I said slowly. No, he corrected. One of your residents locked you in. That complicated extraction. The weldery tried to save us. And made it worse. The soldier gestured to his team. You have 2 options. Come with us for processing or remain. What happens if we remain? Natasha whispered. The man did not answer immediately. In the distance, beyond the forest, the ground seemed to pulse. A low vibration rolled through the air. Then we heard it at sound, far deeper than the ape's roar, far wider, like something enormous, shifting beneath the earth. The soldier closed his eyes briefly. They are not just sending 2 anymore, he said. The vibration grew stronger. somewhere in the forest. Trees began to fall. Not one at a time, dozens. As if pushed aside, the caged crawler suddenly let out a shriek. Not angry, excited. The ape strained against its chains. The soldier put his helmet back on. Decision. Now. Maxime looked at me. Natasha grabbed my hand. Behind us, our building creaked out. In front of us stood men who poised us to keep control. Beyond them, in the forest, something vast was approaching. I stepped forward, not toward the forest. Not yet, but as I walked down those stairs, past the captured monsters, I could not stop thinking about one thing. The ape and the crawler were only scouts. And scouts are never sent alone. Whatever is coming next, it is not here to watch, it is here to stay.